Mr. Jones spent several hours meticulously designing a kitchen corner in Blender using the corner type, but his efforts were in vain as the cabinet had overlapping areas. He tried various adjustments, even removing the handle, but the protruding baseboard continued to frustrate him. Finally, he wondered why he didn't approach the problem with the mindset of a carpenter. He replaced the type to known with to shelves. After reviewing the basic parameters, he noted that the countertop extends by 3 centimeters. Consequently, the cabinets to be built on the adjacent wall will have a maximum width of 0.59 centimeters, taking into account the cabinet depth plus the 3 centimeters countertop extension. The result of the expression is 0.62 meters, so he set the width of the corner cabinet to 0.62. In the corner cabinet, the countertop extends by 3 centimeters. As a result, the front of the inner cabinet also needs to be extended to ensure the next wall cabinet can be fully attached to the corner cabinet. He selected the corner cabinet and switched to edit mode from the interaction mode list. In face select mode, he first selected a face, then held down the shift key to select the front faces of the inner cabinet. Using the Move tool from the toolbar, he attempted to extend the faces by dragging the green arrow to align them with the countertop. However, aligning them proved too difficult, so he pressed Ctrl and C to undo the action. Carefully studying the Blender manual, he activated the Move tool by pressing G. Next, he pressed Y to constrain the movement to the Y-axis. He then entered the value of 0.03 to precisely move the faces 3 centimeters along the Y-axis, successfully aligning the inner cabinet with the countertop. Finally, he pressed Enter to confirm the movement. He switched back to object mode from the interaction mode list. Activating the Select Box tool, he used the Lasso technique to carefully select only the 2 cabinets. Pressing G to activate the Move tool, he then pressed X to constrain the movement along the X-axis. By dragging the mouse, he moved the cabinets to the left, making space to create the oath floor cabinets. He pressed the Cabinets button again, and Blender automatically created identical cabinets using the previous parameters. He then selected the desired door types, as well as the number and sizes of the cabinets. He carefully selected only the new cabinets by pressing the left mouse button and dragging to create a lasso around them. This time, he avoided using the Rotate tool directly. Instead, he pressed R followed by the Z key to restrict the rotation to the Z-axis. Then, he entered -90 degrees and pressed Enter to apply the rotation. He clicked the Z point on the viewport gizmo to switch to a top-down view of the objects. From this perspective, any movement of objects would be confined to the X or Y axis, ensuring that their elevation along the Z axis remained unchanged. This feature was particularly useful for maintaining consistent object height. Similarly, selecting a different axis, such as X, would restrict movement exclusively to that axis. Mr. Jones activated the Move tool by pressing the G key. Without needing any additional keystrokes, he smoothly guided the new cabinets towards the corner with a simple movement of the mouse. Then he pressed Enter to apply the movement. By accident, Mr. Jones discovered that he could zoom in and out on the viewport using the mouse wheel. To achieve more precision, he centered the viewport on the upper right corner of the new cabinets and zoomed in as much as possible. Pressing the G key, he moved the selected cabinets to fit perfectly in the corner of the kitchen. He repeated this process several times until he was confident that the cabinets were correctly positioned. During his final attempts, he pressed the G key and used the arrow keys for better accuracy instead of the mouse. He then zoomed out using the mouse wheel and discovered that pressing the wheel while moving the mouse allowed him to rotate the viewport. By zooming and rotating, he identified two imperfections. The right corner lacked a counteredge, and the baseboard of the first cabinet on the adjacent wall did not align with the corner. He clicked on the countertop of the first cabinet on the adjacent wall, pressed the Del key on the arithmetic keyboard to center the view on it and zoom in, and then chose Edit Mode from the Object Interaction Mode list. Switching to Face Select Mode, he selected the left edge of the counteredge. Pressing G activated the Move Faces tool, and pressing Y constrained the movement to the Y-axis. He entered the value 0.6 and pressed Enter. This value, 0.6, was calculated by adding the default cabinet depth of 0.59 meters, an additional 3 centimeters for the countertop extension, and subtracting 2 centimeters for the default thickness of the counteredges. He then switched back to Object Mode on the Object Interaction Mode list and selected the baseboard of the first cabinet on the adjacent wall. Pressing the Del key on the arithmetic keyboard again centered the view on it and zoomed in. After choosing Edit Mode and Face Select Mode, he selected the left edge of the baseboard and pressed the Del key once more to center the view and zoom in. On the viewport gizmo, he selected the next point. He pressed G, then Y to restrict the movement of the faces along the Y-axis. Carefully, he moved the mouse to align the left edge of the baseboard with the corner baseboard. Holding down the Shift key and the mouse wheel, he panned the viewport, zooming in with the mouse wheel. He repeated these steps as many times as needed. In the final steps, he used the arrow keys for greater accuracy. Finally, he selected Object Mode from the Interaction Mode list and inspected his model for imperfections, just as he would with the real cabinets he creates. In the next lesson, we'll delve into setting up wall corners in Blender to ensure your kitchen designs are both functional and visually appealing. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave any questions you have in the comments, and stay tuned for more tips and tutorials.